Australians are inspired to understand their democracy.
You listen to D.I.Wireless, an Aussie punk rock podcast. Check it out, mate.
Working 28 years for the company. Will I ever be secure financially? I don't know, gonna have to wait and see.
G'day everyone, and thanks heaps for checking out another instalment of D.I.Wireless. A huge episode 43 we have in store for you because, well, I guess it's not every day you get to speak to a man whose bands have literally shaped the sound of entire generations of punk rock bands. The big guns, Green Day, Blink, Rise Against, to legends like NoFX, Bad Religion, Lifetime, all the way through to that local pop punk band or skate punk band that's playing down the road this weekend. This band has helped show them the way. Amazingly, these guys were even considered outcasts within their own punk rock scene. They were a bunch of dorks within the early 80s hardcore punk scene, but somehow they came up with a style and a lyrical content for melodic punk that is still heard everywhere today. Unless you have been living under a rock back home in Australia, you will know they are about to be part of one of the biggest and probably one of the most fun tour lineups ever assembled, and they're just about to hit the road there. I'm talking about the Proud, the Few, the Descendents, and their tour with the Bouncing Souls, Frenzal, Rhomb, and Bodyjar. It's going to be huge. And right here, we're about to talk to guitarist Stefan Egerton about this amazing influence that they've had, what's on the horizon for these legends, and much, much more. We even managed to somehow end up talking about sausages. But let's get going with chatting to Stefan Egerton of the Descendents and all here on D.I.Wireless. Awesome. Here we go. Welcome to the show, Stefan. It's great to have you on. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks very much.
As we were mentioning, mate, D.I.Wireless's headquarters is actually in Canada at the moment, but my hometown is in Brisbane, Australia, and I was one of the many, many people at a festival there about 3 years ago who stood for hours in the rain to finally get to see the Descendents play. After all these years, all had been 25 years, Descendents are finally about to hit the stage, and unfortunately, Milo's voice was pretty toast. Can you remember what actually happened in the lead up to going on stage that day?
Well, interestingly, what really happened there was just, those were some of the first shows we had done. Well, those were the first shows we had done, with Milo in 9 years. Other than one night, we did one show before that little Australian run we did, and So, Milo, I think he kind of came out a little bit too, he wasn't used to pacing himself, let's say. He'd come out and, just go for it. And I think he managed to rough his voice up a little bit too much on the first couple of days. So that third day, he just all of a sudden, nothing came out. He was fine. He woke up in the morning just like, oh no. And then a little while later, his voice started to kind of come back, and he was like, no, okay, I think I'm cool, after he woke up. But then we went out on stage. We got about 4 songs in, and boom. And then we're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And so we just started asking, just all of our friends that were around just kind of started coming up and going, hey, I'll sing one, and so we got Fat Mike, and, we had Frenzal Rhomb guys up there, and Alkaline Trio guys, and, just buddies, hopping up to help out. And Milo did what he could. And so this time we're starting in Brisbane, which I think is good, because at least it gives Brisbane Milo with his freshest voice.
So there was an inkling going onto stage that day that it was like, oh man, Milo might struggle through this one.
Not any more than he had been plenty of other times. Just as a singer, as an aggressive singer. I mean, you're gonna rough your voice up sometimes, but I think it was sort of a combination of just him not knowing how to pace himself anymore, and and it having been such a long time since he had really done this a few days in a row.
Right. Yeah.
Years, So since then we've done many, and he did have one other blowout, but other than that, he's done well. So I'm much more confident.
Well, I was going to ask if there'd been any other occasions, because I'm pretty sure there'd be some dire consequences back in sort of the mid-'80s if you were playing in front of a Southern California bunch of hardcore kids, if a singer had a blowout and sort of was struggling to get through the show.
It could have been, yeah, back then maybe so. People are certainly a lot more forgiving now, but yeah, he had something similar happen, and I don't know, maybe he got sick that time. I'm not sure what happened, but yeah, it happened one other time, and we had to go back and actually repeat a show. So that's kind of what's happening, in a funny way here. Like at least we'll get to go back and do our best.
I read a great quote from Milo just recently, and he said that even today, when you guys are back playing live like you are now, you actually take it very, very seriously, that you don't want to be a nostalgia act. And I think the quote from Milo was that you want the energy to be the same as it was in the practice room back in 1987. Now, that's a big call, and it's something that's really difficult to do because, we're 25 years down the track kind of thing. Can you explain how you try and make that happen on such big stages, and now that things have progressed quite a bit in your career, taking it back to that energy of 1987?
Well, for us, I think that is what the core of the band is about that practice room vibe and everything that comes with that. So we, for us, we really put a lot of rehearsal time in before we do these kinds of shows, just because it would be very easy to end up walking up and just kind of being like, oh wow, these guys do okay for a bunch of old dudes. We totally, for us, it's part of the enjoyment of doing this music was about the sort of physical commitment to it and the catharsis of just really rocking out. That's what we love about it. So it's to not do it that way it just is no fun for us unless we can play that way. So we rehearse a lot before we go. Now we can't rehearse together because of course we all live in different places, but there's a pretty strong rehearsal regimen that we all maintain to, when we're doing shows regularly. So that's really how it's been. It's we take it very seriously, and I mean we love the band, as much as we ever have. It's important. It's very important to all of us, and so we want to do right, by all the years we put into it.
There is a tinge of nostalgia involved with, Frenzal not playing as regular these days, getting back together, Bodyjar getting back together for the show, and of course the Bouncing Souls, who are all-time faves of a lot of people going along as well. So while there is a bit of a nostalgia, it's good to hear that you're definitely going to be bringing it each night. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I mean, the nostalgia part of it, I mean, I get it. I would, if I could see, the Sex Pistols play, I would love that, or something. I mean, I get that that's a feature of the whole thing, but as far as how we want to, represent ourselves in the songs, we really want to do the best that we can with who we are today, and it isn't just like, oh, let's just get up there and screw around and see what happens. That is not what we're about at all. We take it way too seriously for that, and we always did. I mean, we were always a very, we practiced a lot, and that was just what we were about. So we take a lot of pride in it, and we really try hard. So that's kind of where we're still at.
As always, we invite our guests to play some music on the show, and Stefan was adamant about playing songs from the bands he was about to share the road with in Australia, which is absolutely fine by us. Here's the first. Reunited last year after a 4-year break, playing their first full consecutive tour in quite a long time, and they're actually getting to play it with their heroes, the Descendents. Here is Bodyjar with 1 in a Million. There's loads more stuff to chat with Stefan about the Descendents, including the documentary, their influence over the years, and of course the new Descendents record. It's all coming up, so stay tuned. Here is Bodyjar.
Take the wheel, but you're not there. It's so unfair. What if I hit that dog again? Sometimes when I'm lying in my bed, I let those voices in my head influence me to some degree. Now I'm not sure of anything. I wish you knew what I was thinking of. They told me to breathe, they told me to lie down. I figured out you're 1 in a million, 'cause I'm writing the words down. Chances of 1 in a million. I don't know why, I don't know where to begin. Sometimes when I'm running out of cash, I jump a taxi in a flash. No, it's wrong, 'cause life was on, and I just had to get to you. Sometimes when I'm talking on the phone, I get advice from the dial tone. It's nothing new, and I'm confused. I know I'm losing my mind. I wish you knew what I was thinking of. They told me to breathe, they told me to lie down. I figured out you're 1 in a million, 'cause I'm writing the words down. I figure my chances are 1 in a million. I don't know why, and I don't know where to begin. When I'm driving in my car, I wish that you would take the wheel, but you're not there. It's so unfair. What if I fall asleep again? Sometimes when I'm lying in my bed, I let those voices in my head influence me to some degree. Now I'm not sure of anything. I wish you knew what I was thinking of. Can't believe what I've been thinking of.
Lots of people I know have been asking about a new Descendents record, which we'll touch on if we get a little bit of time later on, but being involved with video production myself, I'd like to talk about the Descendents documentary, Filmage. Have you actually seen it? Have you seen a final cut yet?
I haven't seen the final cut. I've seen about, it's been a little while. I saw a little over half of the first cut, and then I've seen some revised intros, kind of, or first maybe eighth of the film, which so far they have just done absolutely fantastic at it. I'm so stoked about how they've done it. I think they have now finished the final cut, I believe, and I think they did that, and then they were going to do some maybe they had some color stuff they had to do to it, which heading into places that I don't understand, but. I think they're they're very close. I mean, I'm pretty sure they've already submitted it to a couple of festivals and stuff, trying to see if they can drum up some interest in it.
Going through and looking at it, I mean, hearing all these fans, and I've seen just the trailers so far, so that's all I can judge on. But just I'm sure having even seen the part that you've seen so far, just going back and hearing all your bandmates talk, hearing all the fans and all the other bands since talking about you guys and exactly how important and influential you've been in punk rock, did it sort of allow you to reflect on exactly what you'd achieved in all these years? Surely that was a time where you were reflecting?
Well, in a way, for me, the part of the film that hits the hardest for me is is actually the part that doesn't really involve me so much, because like to get the perspective of Tony Lombardo or Doug Carrion, like the other guys that have been in the band as well. And, the discussion about Frank Navetta, who really started the band, who died a couple of years ago. And about it's all, it's very emotional stuff for me. It really is. And I think it is for all of us. It touches for sure on, some health issues that our drummer Bill was having a while back. He had a massive brain tumor. Yeah. He had some very serious things happen. And so that's the part of it that really, strikes home for me. I mean, as far as our part of, the history of punk rock music, like that, it's mind-boggling to us to know that it had that much, that it had any impact outside of our practice room, because the band has always been really insular. I mean, it was really just these kind of weird kids that didn't fit in, even to the punk rock scene in a funny way, that were just practice room freaks that just wrote these funny songs. And so for it to have had that impact to where it reaches out and, you've got, Dave Grohl, Keith Morris, I mean, all of Mike Watt, all of these characters who have been so important in music since then, all like appreciating that history so much was kind of like, wow, crazy. Like I didn't, I thought we were just kind of this nutty practice room band, so very cool to see and very humbling by all means.
We'll take a break there for some more music, but I do suggest you stay tuned if you want to hear some pretty cool stuff about a new Descendents record. Here's Frenzal Rhomb with a song from their absolutely classic album, Not So Tough Now. The song's called Parasite. Forgot exactly how good this album is. More with Stefan from the Descendents just after this.
You call me up and tell me that you want to talk to someone who's gonna help you classify your bread. Attempt to be indifferent, but it doesn't work yet. It's difficult to try to justify your head. All you seem to do is to hang around. You're a parasite. You want to be right off, something you just have fashion. You might as well listen and just look like that. To mean yourself in public if you really want to. You'll end up being nothing but a boring threat. All you seem to do is to hang around. All you seem to do is to hang around. You're a parasite. Call it what you like. You're a parasite. Got such a nasty All you seem to do is to hang around. Like to mention all the cookies that you've been to. Like to mention all the coupons that you've met. It's a fascinating giant of perfect proportions. However, I would prefer to brush my own hand. All you seem to do is to hang around. You're a parasite. Call it what you like. You're a parasite. Got such a nasty bite. You're a parasite. Call it what you like. You're a parasite. Got such a nasty bite.
The new album, I mean, it's great to hear that you guys are writing, but you guys are all very busy in your own lives these days, so I'm hoping it doesn't, as a fan, I'm hoping it doesn't end up being one of these things that, it's kind of there but never sees the light of day.
Well, I think everybody's starting to play again at all, and us, finding ourselves enjoying it to the level that we have been, and the various places our lives have taken us over the course of 9 years, has, since we put out our last record, I think it's made for an interesting I think we have an interesting group of songs coming together, and I think everybody is very excited about the idea of doing music just in the way that we would have, years ago. Like, just because, we're saying the things that we're, feeling now and living now and have gone through over the last while. I think that's something exciting to us, just as it always has been. So it is tricky to figure out how to make the thing really come together in terms of everybody's schedules and so on. But everybody's writing. Everybody's got songs. I mean, I think there's probably enough songs to do a record already. And we have 2 recording studios between us. I have every reason to assume that that it can happen.
I know both Bill and Milo said they both started writing after Bill had his very serious health concerns, which you touched on earlier. I mean, I'm guessing there'll be a lot of sort of, from what you've heard that's come through so far from the other guys, there'll be a lot of sort of reflective sort of stuff in some, or is it purely just music that you've heard so far?
No, I would say it's very much reflective of those, of those experiences that we've had over the last while. And so that, I very much that so far. In fact, what I haven't heard much of, any of really yet, is like funny songs, or like, songs about food. Like, nobody seems to be whipping up the songs about food yet, but maybe who knows what'll happen there. So far, it's been very serious as a record, which is unusual for us in a way, because we laugh a lot when we're together, and so that sort of manifests itself in our songs, and I think some of that will probably surface as we haven't gotten a chance to really write together, which is something that normally we would be able to do. But since we all live far away and we kind of, we see each other regularly now, but it's in short bursts. It's like, oh, dudes, we're hanging out for the weekend and we're playing shows and then we're flying home to get back to work. So there isn't a lot of sitting around, writing stuff together the way there might have been, or passing ideas back and forth. Hopefully there will be some more time for that very soon.
Just in relation to all the writing that you guys are doing, mate, when you're writing, when do you know stuff's good for the Descendents and it's perhaps not for some of your own personal projects?
Well, there really isn't much of a separation of that kind of stuff for me. I don't write, I just kind of write, and in the case of Descendents or All, it was always just, hey, here's what I got right now. And then we play it. That's we basically just take what we have, we throw it in the pot, and if everyone else is like, yeah, I like this one, okay, well then we do it. And for me, it isn't like, oh, this sounds more like a Descendents thing, and this sounds more like something that I would keep from just put on on my funny records or something. Like, now that may not be the case for the other guys, but I would say that in the case of Milo, I mean, I think the band is his only real, musical connection or affiliation. So now, in the case of Bill or Carl, that might be different because they kind of have more musical projects, or have. Carl in particular. Carl's kind of always playing with a couple of different people. I put out a record a couple of years ago, my own, just because, at that point the band, all my bands were inactive, and I was just kind of stuck in Oklahoma, with nothing to do and still wanting to write music. So I did a record where I played everything and had a bunch of different friends sing on it. Had the band been functional, I would have just given all that stuff to the band and gone, hey, what do you guys think? I couldn't hope to play all the many things that Carl would play on it or what Bill would play. But I mean, the foundation of it is based in their inspiration. So it's, that record, it's like not too far away from, it's really not too far away from what a Descendents record might have been like.
We're about to wrap things up with Stefan, but before we do and hear about what he wants at the barbecue the band is hosting while they are in Australia, here is the legendary Bouncing Souls, also on the road as part of this gigantic tour. Here is Private Radio from the Bouncing Souls, back to wrap things up with the Descendents interview very shortly.
Well, I like to rock and I love to roll. When the music's
One thing I'm going to have to ask, just as a bit of a fun question to finish off, one of the touring companies that's kindly bringing you out to Australia is putting on a barbecue. A fan can actually win a barbecue with the Descendents. I'm not sure if you're aware of this.
I have seen that.
Your wife's from Perth, so you're a bit used to an Australian barbecue. What are you going to bring, or what would you request to bring?
Well, you know, while we were there this time, the funny thing is we would buy just the most ordinary kind of sausages, which are very different than the kind of sausages that we get in the U.S. So I would probably get just the most plain Jane sausages on earth.
You've come up with snags.
What's that?
Snags. You're going to need to get that colloquial term down if you're going to be at the barbecue. Snag.
Snag. Explain that to me. I want to know that.
A snag is an Australian term for a sausage whenever we've got beer around and we've got the barbecue on.
Oh, okay. Well, it's funny because, I mean, of all of the various Australianisms I've heard, that isn't one of them. I'll have to remember that for while we're there this time.
You definitely. Descendants rolling around with a huge lineup. Frenzal, Rhomb, the Bouncing Souls, Bodyjar are back together playing. We absolutely thank you very, very much, Stefan, for everything you've done over the years with the band. And, really look forward to you being out in Australia as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. We're looking forward to being there.